Hello and welcome to What Am I Rolling? A twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast, hosted by me, Fiona. This week, I'm joined by my friends Claire and Ben for Mouse Guard, a traditional pen and paper role-playing game designed by Luke Crane. Based on the award-winning graphic novel series by Dave Peterson, Mouse Guard sees players take on the role of mouse heroes, struggling against the wild, the seasons, and their own mouse nature. You can find out more about Mouse Guard and download resources on the official Mouse Guard website. That's www.mouseguard.net. I'll include links to it on the What Am I Rolling website and in this episode's show notes. So here's a brief overview of how Mouse Guard works. The key thing to remember is that whenever a character has to pass a test to overcome an obstacle, they must roll a number of dice, usually between 3 to 6, and check the results. The number of dice rolled depends on how skilled the character is in a particular area, how much help they have from their companions, and a few other factors. Mouse Guard uses common 6-sided dice for all rolls, and in each roll, every dice counts as its own result. A 4, 5, or 6 counts as a success, and, obviously, the more successes a character has, the better chance they have in overcoming the obstacle. A 1, 2, or 3, however, counts as a failure. In our one-shot, we actually use official Mouse Guard dice, which has symbols instead of numbers on them. So, just to clarify them here, the symbols are snakes, swords, and axes. Snakes indicate a failure, so the 1 to 3. Swords indicate success, 4 and 5. And an axe indicates a 6, which can be re-rolled under certain circumstances. Conflict in Mouse Guard is a little bit more complicated than testing to overcome an obstacle, but I'll come back to that later on in the one-shot. One last thing before we begin. Naturally, there are times in this one-shot where the players and myself, mostly myself, get the rules wrong or forget something plot-wise. Whilst we always endeavour to stick to the rules wherever possible, at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, and what matters most is that everyone enjoys themselves. So, with all that out of the way, let's play Mouse Guard. So, the aim of this game is that you guys, as players, will take on the role of a mouse hero struggling against the wild and the seasons and your own mouse nature. You are Mouse Guard, so if you could just introduce your characters for me, just so maybe a quick summary about who you are, maybe the relationship between you two, if you want.
All right, I'm Rye. My parents are Hannity and Sable, and they call me Rye because I've got this beautiful brown fur. And, you know, we do a lot of work because I'm from Ivydale. We do a lot of work with, like, baking and things there. And so there's, like, a lot of Rye around, and they just thought it was a really cute name. And then they kind of, you know, they're brewers themselves. But I always wanted to be a baker. And just, I guess, maybe it was because of my name or something. I don't know. I just really like the smell of baked bread. It's just really good. And, I mean, I guess that's pretty much me.
Why did you join the Mouse Guard, then?
Oh, well, I used to read the coolest stories about, like, badgers and how cool they are, and, like, they're so big and I'm so small. But one day, I'm going to find one, and I'm going to beat it up, and it's going to be so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. And Ben, what's your character?
Right, name's Jack. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I've worn many hats in my time. Glazier, boat maker, cartographer, potter, and nowadays I'm just become a patrol guard myself, so you'll be under my command. I hail from the town of Port Sumac, which means I've also been a cook in my time too, and I'm here to show the great Gwendolyn that I'm worthy of the patrol guard position that she has granted me.
I've seen Jack around and we're going to be best friends, I know it.
What do you make of that, Jack?
There should be a strict dividing line between the patrol guard and their underlings. So you'll know your place.
Don't think so.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'd say yes, you do know each other in passing, but this is like the first time, and certainly for you, Jacques, it's been a very recent promotion. This will be your first big sort of mission that you have of your own to do, and it's just turned spring. So Lockhaven is like the central, almost like the capital city of the Mouse Territories. Home of the Mouse Guard is carved deep into stone. Only the ivy-covered face of Lockhaven is visible from the outside. It serves as a base of operations for the mouse and is not an open city. Whilst there are mouse citizens that live there, there are invited guests of the guard. So yeah, it's more like a garrison, I guess, or a fortress for the Mouse Guard. And so essentially, you act as sort of a sanctuary. It is like the most fortified and central locations in the territories, and it's home to about 70 or so guard mice, whilst the sort of people are stationed there. And actually, during winter, all the guard mice would have been called back in, so almost up to I'd say maybe 200 mice, because the winters here are very, very cold. And the other thing you guys would know is in the last sort of 10, 15 years, you have been sort of recovering from what was known as the Weasel Wars. And weasels, as you know, are sort of mice mortal enemies. There was a bit of a fracas, essentially, where the mice territories were sort of spread out and all the settlements were sort of there, and weasels decided to just take mice for their own, because mice, in general, as you know, are hardy characters. They sort of make their own sort of settlements and their own sort of work and stuff like that. So the weasels wanted in on that, and they realised they could just take the stuff and then start taking the mice as well and keeping them captive, maybe using them for food, or maybe using their skills and stuff like that. So there's a big war between guard mice and the weasels, which you eventually won. There was a compromise, though. Some of the settlements further out are still under weasel rule, and through the past couple of years you've been sending out negotiations and stuff, because you know to face weasel head on in a fight is quite bad. It's very... You know what they're like. They're sort of like, I say ferrets, they're bigger than ferrets. They're sort of stretched out, long creatures that stand up, and they are vicious and would not hesitate to attack a patrol guard. So you both would know this. Maybe yourself, Jack, you probably weren't involved with the wars per se, but you may have gone out on a patrol which was attacked in some way. So you may have indirect experience of them, but you are very aware that they are bad people. So, it is early morning and spring has finally come, so the snow and the ice around Lockhaven has slowly started melting away. It's still quite chilly, but it is like the first day of spring, so suddenly there's almost like a hive of activity. And patrol groups are being put together and being sent out on various missions to go see the other settlements, make sure that they are okay still, and maybe do a couple of errands and stuff. Because that's the idea of a guard mice, is that whilst you are protecting people, you're not deliberately going out to fight things, and you are sent on missions to sort of help. You guys are maybe far down the list, and you see other groups of people, very heroic mice that go out, and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so. You probably would know of them a bit more, right, because you maybe read up on like the guards and stuff like that. Whereas Jacques, you're sort of just, maybe impatient perhaps. You're ready. You've just been promoted. There was a little ceremony earlier in the winter, and there was a small group of gathered people, maybe your parents, very old now, has sort of come and sort of like celebrated with you, but now is your time to shine. And for whatever means, you might want to role play or not, you two are put together. No other mice are put with your patrol, and that is unusual, because normally patrols in this case are usually 3 to 4, maybe even 5 mice, but you two have only been put together as 2, and so you're a little maybe not shaken by this, Jacques. You're like, okay, it's fine. Maybe it's a super secret important mission. Anyway, your number or your names are called, and you are taken through to Gwendolyn's office. And you both will have met Gwendolyn at certain points, maybe you, Jacques, more than Rye. But Gwendolyn is this very stern, older-looking mouse, matriarch in Old Lockhaven. She is the centre, the core of all the operations for the Mouse Guard. I keep saying guard mice. Mouse Guard. It's because you're called guard mice.
Yeah.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. She stands out to you, quite so, because she has bright white fur. And in this room, as well, there's a huge wooden desk, and there's a huge map of the territories. And on it is almost like, one of those war maps. There's little mice, little heads on little, like, almost chess pieces, and she's put them here and there. And then currently, she has her back to the window, probably just taking a breather. And she turns around and she goes, fantastic. Jacques and Rye, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
That's right. It's Rye. Nice to meet you. Well, I guess I'll see you again.
I snap a crisp salute to attention.
At ease. Please. And she points actually to 2 chairs. And this is the first time you're like, she's actually making you sit down for this.
I go to sit, but extremely rigidly.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I get super cozy.
Yeah. Thank you. I hear this is your first time, Jacques, leading a patrol. Well, congratulations.
I've been on many patrols before, so I'm ready for the job.
Absolutely, and I have full confidence that you'll be able to do this one. And Rise, yes, I don't know if you've met Jacques before, if you've been working with him?
I've never met him, but I've heard lots about him. I've seen him around in his yellow coat, and I just think he's so cool, and I know we're just going to be so great at this mission. I know it's my first one, but I'm just going to be so good at it, and just trust me, I have got you covered. It's going to be great.
Thank you, Rye. That's enough. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gwendolyn smiles at this, and she lets you talk. Like, She's clearly had several recruits in her time. You're not awed by her presence. You're clearly very natural with her, and she appreciates that. So she finds her mission book.
She turns to page 273.
She does. She goes, well, it's a simple mission. As you know, winter has now gone, and how well do you know Elmos, Spruce Tuck, Doringith, and Gilpledge?
Never been myself, but I could put them on a map, apart from that last one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've heard of Elmos before, maybe once.
Oh, it's totally fine. As you may know, delivery of mail around here it gets quite tricky in the winter, so we normally store up any mail. It usually comes to Lockhaven first from the settlements, and then we ask Guardmeister to go out and deliver it. And she sort of maybe not clicks her fingers. I'm trying to think of a nice way. She pulls a bell, like leaving, and in comes like two other mice carrying huge sacks of mail. It is ridiculous, actually, and they're quite heavy. And she says, "It's an important mission. It might seem mundane, but we need to get this mail delivered to the other settlements. So Elmos, Spruce Tuck, Doringith, and Gilpledge. And looking at your map, Jack, as well." Places to Elmos, Spruce Tuck, and Doringith are well travelled. They're actually fairly sort of straightforward and stuff, so you would know, you'd be able to suss out the way to get there. Gilpledge, however, would anyone like to offer up a skill they would like to try?
Cartographer.
Yeah, you can do cartographer.
I don't know if anything.
Allow me to noisily retrieve 2 dice
Go
from
for
this
it.
little plastic baggie.
It's okay if only one of you is it.
Yeah, I don't know if scouting would really apply here. Or
Not-
pathfinding, maybe, but
That's
feels
more
like it's
an-
more when you're on the road.
Exactly,
right?
more active. So what we're going to do for this, so you're rolling dice. You got 2 dice for your cartographer. It's only going to be a 1 difficulty, so you need at least 1 success on the dice. So success for those dice, you need to have swords or axes. Snakes are bad. See what you get.
Sword and a snake.
Sword and snake. So 1 success and you pass. Gilpledge, you know, is quite far out. It is a quite remote. It's a remote village.
Well, like, up until this very moment, I thought Gilpledge was a person.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely
I
sure.
thought we were delivering mail to
It could
Gilpledge.
be a person,
I
it could
was
be a
like-
place.
I thought it was 1 envelope that Gilpledge needed to
Yeah,
receive.
one package.
One place.
Anyway, so Jacques, I just wanted to say.
Do it.
I
What
don't
do?
actually have anything to say.
She looked really thoughtful.
She's looking at
Don't
her
want to
big
disturb
book.
her while she's looking in that big book.
Okay, so the only thing you know about Gilpledge is that it is further out than the other 3 towns I spoke about. It's known because the settler who made that town is a person called Gilbert, and he and his wife founded Gilpledge, Appleloft, and Doringith, which are quite far out on the edge of the territories, very close to the scent border. And I'll say this for the purposes of people at home and for you guys as well. The scent border is what keeps out the bigger predators. So the weasels managed to find some way to break it, and so when in the wars they had help from, say, the wolves or bigger creatures, bigger predators that would just come in and take the settlements. They somehow broke the scent borders. Currently, as you know, they are still intact, but it is close to one there.
Can I ask, sorry?
Yes.
Those 3 towns were all founded by
So the towns that were founded by Gilbert
Gilbert.
were Appleloft, Dorygift, and Gilpledge.
And Dorygift was one of the other places we're
Yes,
delivering
that's
to.
right, yeah. Named after his wife, Doris.
Okay, so the pledge part of Gilpledge, it's not, his name's not Gilbert Pledge.
No, it's just
Okay.
it's
It's just Gilbert.
Gilbert. And it's
Much like I'm
Gilbert.
just Jack.
Much like I'm just right.
I'm just Jack. But yeah, it may take you an extra 2 days of travel. You think the towns, Elmos and the other towns I mentioned, they're fairly reasonable to get to, but you're not sure about the path to Guild Pledge.
What is this Guild Pledge then? How do we get there?
Well, there's several different paths you can take. Jacques, I assume your cartography, and actually, Rana, you're a very good scout, aren't you? And you can.
Oh yeah, I've learned from best. Seth.
Not personally, no, but
He's great. He's taught me everything I know. So
very good, very good. Well, I'm sure this is a chance to prove yourself. Ideally, get all the mail there. It's very important. People, when you know how communications are around here, it's important that all the letters are delivered. So try not to lose any.
okay, we've got this. Definitely, no problem.
Skeptical. Yeah, so you said that it was 2 large sacks of mail.
Yes.
Would you say it would be 2 hands over the shoulder to carry large? Mm-hmm. Any kind of cart or something we could use to take these bags on? I'm just a bit worried about Guild Pledge a little out of the way. Might be some treacherous terrain to get there.
That's an excellent point, Jacques. I knew you would be good for this. So, you can hire a cart, but unfortunately we don't have any of the guinea pigs available to... They are currently being used for other missions, but so you might have to push it. Almost like, like a wheelbarrow sort of thing. So one of you could push it, and the other one could scout ahead, perhaps. But I wouldn't want to tell you what to do, Jacques.
Yeah, that's his job, isn't it? He's the leader now.
He's going
to be so great, I know it.
As leader, I think we should get a cart, and one of us should pull it or push it, while the other one scouts ahead.
Well, I'm really good at scouting.
Yes.
I can see things really
every
far.
mouse has a role to play, so you can scout. I guess I'll push the cart.
Well,
I mean, I can push the cart if you want me to. Maybe I can do both.
No, don't disrespect. No, you will be scouting.
Maybe you should do this planning outside of my office.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Don't worry, my men will take the bags down and we'll have them ready for you in a cart of some sort. Is there any other questions you have for me? Gwendolyn's sort of moving other mice around. Forward.
No, but Mum said to give this to you if I saw you. And Rai just hands Gwendolyn a little vial of her mum's brew. Mum just said, just if you, she's like, oh, you're gonna see Gwendolyn, then maybe you should give her some of the brew. So it's from my mum.
Wait, that is so thoughtful of you. Unfortunately, I've got back-to-back meetings just now, but maybe later. Thank you. She puts it in a drawer. And actually, you probably both see this underneath. There's a lot more alcohol in there. She puts it in there.
Yes, thank you very much, Mom.
Best of luck.
Do a salute.
She sort of just goes, all right.
I try and copy the salute.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Both arms at once.
Yeah.
I kind of slap you on the back to get you to move.
And you are away. I'd say...
She's your mum?
Mom. That's how you address someone of higher rank.
Oh, I just thought she was like a lot of people's mums. That makes way more sense, actually, now that you mentioned that.
I assume you're walking out.
Yes, this is definitely a
walk and talk moment. So as you're walking down through sort of different corridors, and you see other mice sort of getting ready to go out. And some of them have got winter weather clothing on. Some of them are just getting some armour on. And you can see they're actually probably going to other settlements further out, to the opposite way of you. There's some sort of hustle and bustle, but otherwise, fair enough. So what would you guys like to do currently in Lockhaven? I'm going to leave it to you a little bit here.
Do we need to get one of those coats? Is it really cold out that way? I've never been out that way before.
Just to check, it's the start of spring now.
It's just started spring, yeah.
So
first day of spring.
Might I know, would there still be snow in the kind of higher up areas?
Yes, you would know that. Again, it would take maybe a couple of days to fall, but it's more precedent on mail needs to be delivered out, certain communications between the towns as well. You don't want them cut off in any way.
And certainly Guild Pledge might be a bit snowier.
It will definitely. It's much further out than the other three, and you suspect it will be the hardest to get to. Probably look in the bags as well. You can see they're all individually sort of inside them as other mail bags. So one that says Dory Gift on it, El Moss. And so you're not having to go having to go through individual letters. You can just see there are bags.
And as a wise person, I would think probably best to drop off at Dory Gift and
Elmos, and there's one
first.
more, I think.
I think it was only 3 locations to drop off.
Maybe you're right.
Apple Loft, Oh no, Spruce
no.
Tuck. Spruce Tuck.
Yes.
So yes, ideally to drop off at those places first so that we have less of a load getting up the more difficult terrain to Gilpledge.
Mm-hmm.
Is that feasible? Are they kind of... is there a way to traverse the other 3 first and then get to...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. There's a well-trodden path, certainly to Elmos, and then from there, Dory Gift and then Spruce Tuck are sort of in a similar thing. It'll take you about maybe a day and a half or so to get to those 3 places, and then Gilpledge will be another 2 days on top of that.
Okay. Well, we need supplies, right? We need a shovel in case of snow. Mm-hmm. We need fire-making equipment in case we are forced to make camp en route.
Yeah.
Rations.
Yeah.
Good shoes. You got good shoes there, actually.
Yeah, I've got the best
Some
shoes
good
in the whole
wraps.
world.
Sleeping rolls.
Yeah, I've got one of those too.
Excellent. Well,
I've also got a lot of beer my mum gave me.
You're going to carry all those bottles on?
No, definitely not. Just one.
maybe just give me one of those and
Sure.
stash the rest away.
Right, you have a
Wink, wink.
glass vessel
Yeah.
full of booze of
Yeah.
some description. What kind of booze? Is it like
Staples
an IPA colour, or is it like a stout?
I know
it made
nothing
of-
about beer, so
is it a
I'm
dark
gonna
beer
go
or a
for,
light beer? Is it like
like a medium? Like
Could
a,
it perhaps
probably
be
light.
a mead? If there were
Ooh.
apiarists around, because mead's made
I
from
don't
honey.
know any apiaries.
So
But yeah, I guess probably.
it'd be honey based?
Yeah.
So yeah. So you get like a small little vial, I guess. Like it's clearly like a one shot thing, a taster, but of pure like golden honey, and then maybe you can smell a little bit of like some like lavender, perhaps a little bit of flavouring. Yeah. But you put that away for now. Maybe keeps you warm on a night.
Do
Right
we
then,
need
right.
coats then, or
Yes, of course we'll need coats.
right?
Why don't you make it down to the markets and pick up some camping equipment, coats,
Coats,
portable shovel.
portable shovel.
Yes, while I take care of business up here.
All right.
Okay.
Reconvene
Yes,
at
sir. And then I
the
try and do the salute that he did earlier.
right paw to
Right.
the forehead.
Which one's my right one? That one's my right one. Yeah.
Very good.
I love this. You're just doing this down the corridor, like heading ahead.
Yeah.
For ease, what I want you to do is, if you could roll me a resources check for me, Rye.
Resources, but I don't have anything in resources. Oh, resources.
Yeah, it will
Okay.
be one of your
At the
main
top.
ones. So you've got 2 dice there, and it's just a 1 difficulty, so you need to get a sword or an axe on the dice.
I'm scared. Yeah, I got a sword.
Got a sword. Yeah, so easily enough, like, people know who you are. You don't have to, like, not frighten people, but, sort of talk at them for ages. They're like, oh, yes, of course. And you get all the provisions. Like, you're well known, and they're all mouse guards up here as well, so they are giving you all the provisions you need. But they're all standard equipment. And actually, as you're going around, you notice a lot more people are delivering mail as well. It's not usually you guys, but you guys are being sent off in sort of one direction, another person's maybe going south. But there are a lot more people on those missions. This one's quite odd with it's just 2 of you. Again, so you do notice that. Jacques, what are you doing?
I'm going to look to see if I can find the cart, and the mail has been dropped off at the cart, and I'm going to be kind of anxiously checking that the cart is in good nick, and also if I finish that in time, I'm basically going to like empty my bag and itemize it all again and check everything's there and clean it in place and pack it all up again.
Easily done. You don't need to do a check for that because it maybe takes you an hour or so. So you find the carts. It's almost like a mouse guard approved, made in Lockhaven sort of stamp on the thing, and it is just literally like a wheelbarrow in sense. Because again, any sort of bigger carts, they would have to have like something pulling it. But it's all there, and you maybe check the bags and stuff, and you see that they are tied quite tightly, and then inside them there would be just the normal sort of mail bag that you can just hand off to people or give out mail if you should choose to. You know from, not previous experience, you've never delivered mail before, but the idea is that you would go to the sort of town hall for each of these towns, and maybe you would be the person to give out the mail, like it'll be like a town meeting and stuff. But each of it is organised in certain bags, so it's easy enough. You don't have to go through every single letter and whatnot. It's taking your time. You just doing all the little, like, everything's beautifully spread out. If you could take a picture of it for Instagram, you would.
What goes into
What goes into a guard mouse?
is it a wooden cart?
Yes, it is a wooden cart.
I would also try and source then, probably using my connections to boat crafters and such, like some extra nails and maybe a mallet or hammer, just like maybe a repair kit or something. Like I'm anxious, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
What if it falls apart?
That makes sense. So are you using your are you using your connections in town to find us, or are you going to just look for it yourself? So what I'm saying is that, so you're using your connections, it's like a circle thing, because you're asking around to maybe borrow something, whereas resources are that you go out and find it yourself. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose there aren't really many boat crafters in Lockhaven.
There's the odd one or two, but it's not a port town.
Exactly. I suppose I don't really have circles in crafts here then. So.
No, so a resources check for me then, please. So again, just difficulty of 1. Tell me what you get.
2 swords
Two
and
swords.
1 snake.
Okay, excellent. So you succeed with a margin of 1. So yeah, actually, you will go around and okay, maybe you probably miss Rye, or you hear Rye, you're like, right, just
Yeah.
you avoid any of his conversations. But you're able to go around and people know you, and you explain the situation and stuff, and people are more than happy to give you some extra. Maybe not a wheel replacement, but things to help you patch up any wheels or any damages to the cart. And you would know as well that, because you're checking in and checking out equipment from the mouse guard, they've probably given you like a sheet saying scratch down the left side, so when you go back you have to write in things that are missing as well, but easily enough.
16,000 miles on the clock.
Just feet, but yeah, easily enough. So I would say you have a repair kit, so you can maybe do a repair check if you need to.
Would I have gone past like where the bakers are in my search for equipment?
So in Lockhaven there's not necessarily a baker's per
Okay.
se. There's like a small not even a canteen, but there is like a very small bakery. So it's just the provisions for the guards themselves. But yeah, you can go past
I
that.
go there because my friend Tanda works there.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my god, Tanda, just so you know, I'm about to go on my first mission. It's really exciting.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, it's so exciting.
Just so
you know, I'm about to go out
Oh my
and just
God.
like, you know, if I find anything cool, I'll bring it back for you. Just
Oh no, it's okay. And how would you describe Tanda as well? I'm guessing is she going to go into the guard, or is she just working at the bakery?
I think she just works at the bakery. Just a baker through and through, and
Her heart is made out of dough.
yes. Maybe like a little bit more like scrappy sort of looking, but like a greyish brownish fur, like somewhere in between the two.
Yeah.
And just like generally a good egg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, roll a circles check for me, please.
Circles check.
Under resources.
Yeah. Tell me what you get.
1 sword, 1 snake.
So she's like, oh my goodness, well, you can't go alone out there. Here's this. And she gives you like a little proper like bakery, sort of like leftover bread and stuff like that.
Yes!
And a little takes it.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Thank you so much. I'm going to miss you so much, Mom.
I hope you like it. That's a new recipe. It's 50-50. I'm going to call that on the...
Oh.
And there's a few bits of pumpkin seeds on there as well.
Oh, I love pumpkin
Well, let me know what you
seeds.
think. Let me know what you think. Okay,
will
so
do.
just give me-
Oh, thanks so much.
best of luck.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Don't die.
I'll try not to.
That's such a good take on It's Dangerous to Go Alone, take this. A loaf.
Yeah. So,
A loaf of 50-50. Write that down.
that will probably last you maybe like a 2 worth of rations between you. So I'd say
Okay.
4 rations, because it's quite not a hefty loaf, but it's quite warm, and it's like it's just out of the kiln, as I guess. So you make it back to where the cart is, and Rye and Jack, you sort of meet up. What would you like to do?
Alright, so here's the shovel, here's the this thing, here's the this thing, here's the this thing. And also my friend Tanda gave me this loaf of bread.
Alright, perfect. What is this, some kind of half and half?
Yeah,
This
it's
is-
like a 50-50. She put some pumpkin seeds on the top. I reckon it's going to be delicious. She's the best bread baker in all the whole of Lockhart. So,
Well,
after me.
Lockhaven. You hear from the gods.
Lockhaven.
I
Know
sometimes
where you
mix
are.
up my T's and my N's. It happens.
Right, well, pack that away. We've got to hit the road before it gets dark.
Yeah, it's about early afternoon now, so you spent the morning getting ready for it.
Do I think we could make one of the 3 easier towns before sundown?
I think so. Like, but the closest one is Elmos, and that's maybe a couple of hours away, so you can definitely get there before sundown if you push it now.
We can make it to Elmos before sundown if we head off now, so
Sounds good.
please, we'll take this route, but you can scout ahead, see if you find any easier paths, perhaps in the winter, maybe trees fallen, something like that. You can show us the way round, and I'll start pushing the cart.
Fantastic. Okay, so, right, I want you to make me a scout check for me with advantage, because this is a well-trodden... Actually, no, is it Pathfinder? This is where I should have
What does
checked.
advantage mean in this?
Close
So
to
it's just an extra die.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 extra d6.
So weird.
I'm just saying you're scouting ahead because that's what you're thinking. So we're going to scout ahead. It's going to be for 3d6. You got currently or 4?
5.
Wow, 5.
I got 4 in scout and then plus 2.
Perfect. That's
Oh, also it's your underlined skill.
Oh yeah, does
What
that mean
does that
something?
mean?
It just means that's yours. That's your skill. There's no extra to it, unfortunately. This one. But I mean, you got 5.
Just means I'm cool guy.
So it's going to be 1 difficulty to get.
Oh no! I got 2 axes, 2 swords, and a snake.
Wow. So yeah, you get there in plenty of time. And Elmos as well. You both know it as the place. It's named for the moss that grows on the trunks of the oldest elm tree in the territories. It's well known for its healing properties. The mice of Elmos harvest and deliver most of the moss to Spruce Tuck, which is a little ways away, but trade some of it as a raw commodity. And it is like you get there, and there's a little hive of activity again. The route there was fairly straightforward. You didn't run into any problems or anything like that. Jacques, you mean you're pushing him along the cart. You are tired, but it's like you didn't stop at all because Ryan was very good at scouting ahead and making sure to come over any obstacles. So I say you get there, and it's this huge elm tree. It's very hard to miss in this territory. It's like the biggest tree for miles around. And as you get there, you can see lights coming out of the windows that are built into the elm tree. And there's a little hive of activity, as you can see, almost like a welcome party of other Elmos mice. It's like, hey, hey, what? Oh my God! It's mouse guard mice mouse guard. Hey! Sort of they welcome you in.
Long winter was it?
Oh, mate.
Kept warm.
Ooh, so
Hot box, was it?
Oh, hey, dude, it's so good to see you. Hey,
It's so good to meet you too. Hi, I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm Moss. No, my name's. Oh, yeah, his name's Moss. I'm Moss with a Y.
Oh, cool.
Why?
Like, is that like similar like meese or like mouse?
I like Mose. Yeah.
Cool.
Call me Mose. Mose. And then everyone's like, yeah, Mose. And they lead you in. They lead you into a very small town hall. Think like proper church town hall. Like the floorboards are very cracked and stuff like that, but there's a little podium and little seats there. And there's a little crowd of people, not all as bad as moss or mice, but they're all sort of like cheery and they're very welcoming. They give you food and drink, and they just generally are good people. And unless there's something you'd want to do.
I would try and side talk to
Right.
Ryan and say, do not take any of the moss. Right, we're here on a mission. Got to keep a cool head.
Yeah, sure, okay. I thought it was like really good for like your healing, your soul.
Actually, you
any
can
ailments.
you can just extract the oil part of the moss that has the healing properties without any of the side effects. So
Oh,
don't take any of the moss itself.
Okay.
Right, we're on a mission.
And
What if it's like moss bread or like something like that?
Moss
like
brownies,
moss and stuff?
edibles is
at the back of the no. It's a catering. It's like Bake Off. Like.
they're actually even worse because you don't realise, and then you digest it. It gets
Oh.
just stay away from anything moss. All right.
Oh, okay. All right.
So they don't offer you any moss. It's quite clear that those people who clearly aren't or very friendly and stuff like that, maybe they work with it to a certain extent and the fumes and whatnot. But they are very wary about them, making sure it's kept legal, I guess is the answer. But so you're not offered anything.
Straight edge.
Exactly. And you give out all the mail, and there's some exciting people that love to get there's like letters from loved ones from different settlements, maybe a card from a grandmother to a small child with a little bit of coin in it, and she gets very excited and is very, very thankful for you. And everyone sort of is very thankful and grateful for you. And that's kind of it. So that's like check 1. Elmos is sort of done. Is there anything you guys would like to do before we sort of move over to the next day?
Yeah, I just want to arrange a place to stay. Shake hands with the mayor, I guess. It's on it,
Yeah, there is. So it's great, this book, 'cause it does break it down into stuff. So like location structure, Elmos is built under and inside a massive elm tree in a small grove of elms, the size of the town. Government. Family rulers govern the lords of trade, so wood, moss, and harvest. Major trades in imports and exports. So yeah, so there's not necessarily like I guess there is a mayor of some sort, a sort of middle-aged female mouse with sort of a brown complexion with streaks of blonde through her, and she sort of like says, "Oh, thank you so much. It's so good to see the mouse guard, giving the time to just, even do the small matters. We really appreciate it. And please, you're more than welcome to stay at my house at the top of the elm."
Thank you very much. It's
That's very kind, thank you.
an honour to do this duty.
No, of course, it's an honour to have you here, and it's quite aware of all the other people who are sort of milling around. Yeah, she's like, "Yes, I'm sorry about that. I did specify to them to take work off today because I wanted to show." Elmos is a place not just known for its medicinal purposes. We are actually quite hardworking, but please, and she'll let you. And if you let her, she spends the evening giving you a very lovely meal, probably talking all about Elmos and how the winter fared for them, but nothing out of the ordinary, and just very simplistic and stuff like that. And you get very nice beds, and then the next morning you've had a really good night's rest, and there is little parcel of provisions, and again another thank you. As you go, so like a little bit of like sweetmeats and stuff like that.
I would check Rye's parcel for any moss and try and extricate it in case it.
There's no moss, don't worry. That would be incredible. I like that. I like that thought.
In my party.
No, so there's no moss or anything like that. But again, you get the you would know this, Jack, but I think it's more prevalent to you, Rye, that mouse guards are well received. They're seen as a force for good, and that you are the protectors of the weak, and you will go out of your way to do stuff. So it's actually quite nice to get that reaffirming, almost like a roll back, I guess. Mm-hmm. So if you're happy, we'll go on to the next town.
As we go to leave, I salute the mayor, but with the wrong hand this time, the wrong paw. Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
A pleasure. She doesn't know what the courtesy is for this, so she sort of does that and then curtsies and it's so thank you so much, and then
You're welcome.
you do that. So, are you going to do the same thing again? Are you going to scout ahead and then push, or are you going to swap rolls?
No, same roll.
Same rolls. Cool. It will take you about maybe another couple of hours if you're going at the same pace to get to... We've done Elmos. What's the other two towns?
There was Spruce Tuck and Dory Gift.
Dory Gift.
Oh.
So it will take... The next one up will be Spruce Tuck, because that's the closest one that they actually do imports and exports between there and Elmos. So that will be the next one on top of that. And you think actually you could easily get through those two in today. So Spruce Tuck and Dory Gift. Okay, so you're going to roll again. So again, this time same roll. So scouting +1 because it's well travelled.
Okay.
It's just one difficulty again.
Oh my god.
That was 4 swords and an axe. I'm getting all the great ones out now.
It's good. It's good.
Later.
You make fantastic time, actually. I think maybe you start off a little earlier because again, like yesterday, was setting up all the gear and stuff. And there was a moment where you have to fight your way through some overgrown grass, as was hidden by the snow. But it takes you maybe an extra half an hour, and you actually find a shortcut to Spruce Tuck. It is actually a part of a hollow spruce tree. And inside, actually, you go inside and you see almost like a multi-level dwelling, like almost like feels like a spiral staircase, but on each staircase is like a landing sort of, and you see it goes up for miles and mouse miles. It's a village, so there's only a couple of people here, but it is there is a governor who sort of manages here, and he sort of comes in and goes, "Oh, thank you so much, guard. How are you?"
Why, Governor?
Yes. That is my name.
Governor. We are here to deliver the spring mail. We must be on our way to Dory Gift shortly, so if you could gather the townsfolk to receive.
And actually quite a few of them turn in. And you know this, it's well-known Spruce Tuck for scientific things. So there's lots of apothecaries and sort of scientists who are working on the sense barrier here. And so they come in, it's actually a very small, almost like, I don't want to say staff room, but like a scientist staff room. So there's a few beakers here and there, and they're all sort of come in. And then you give out the letters. And this time again, there's a couple of maybe like thicker reports from different towns, where their scientists are, and they're like, incredible! They found the solution! They just wander off and do that. But you get through the mail, so you've now gone down to one big bag of stuff. Less work on you. And yeah, so without further ado, they sort of like, well, thank you so much. And then the governor sort of shows you out. So you've done Spruce Tuck. And then the next one would be Dory Gift. So again, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing.
Now that I've got so good, watch me roll all snakes.
No, still pretty good. 2 axes, 2 swords on the snake.
Nice. So again, making really good time, maybe just after 1, you make it to Dory Gift. This is where Dory Gift is not in there.
It just doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
It is a black void.
Yep, it's just named after Doris. I forgot. As you're getting further and further out, you know that the settlements come from sort of a Lockhaven, which is like a fortress-type city, and then you get to sort of town-esque. That was in Elmos, and a village, like outpost, scientist outpost in Spruce Tuck. And then this is similar. This is Dory Gift, which is just like almost just a collection of buildings next to some stones that sort of in... Not an edge of a forest, but almost on the edge of an opening. Gap? No. What's it called? A clearing.
Like a clearing, yeah.
Whoa!
Hey.
That was going through all the words there. So yeah, Dory Gift is sort of on the edge of a clearing.
It's more like a hamlet or something.
Exactly, yeah, like that. And again, you get a nice response there. The Dory Gift people there, again, very homely. A lot of labourers, perhaps, a couple of harvesters as well. And then they'll sort of shuffle you to the town square. And there's like a big well there where if you look down into it, like the well is quite full because again from all the snow and stuff that's been melting. And actually you see them all clearing away like the snow off the thatch roofs and stuff like that. And you can get the smell of cooking as they are making warm food to replenish their stockpile of food. God, that was a very weird way of saying this. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Oh, can you hear? Can you smell?
Smell is the word you're looking for there.
Yeah, can you smell that? It's like spices and yeah, it smells
Do
good.
remember to be on a professional stance
I'm
as we
always
go in here.
professional. I don't know what you're talking about.
Salute with your right hand this time.
Oh yeah, my right paw. Right. That's this one, right?
No,
No, this one. Right.
correct.
Got it.
Yep, and the same thing happens again. This time you are giving out letters and stuff to, and it's actually a lot of this time. It's more business matters. Actually, there's a small business hub happening in Dory Gift. Maybe a couple of not reports, but like a couple of business things. Lots of signings of wills and stuff like that. But again, it's all sort of sorted fairly quickly. So you've got the rest of the afternoon to try and make your way to Guild Pledge, or to make a start to Guild Pledge. Is that what you guys would like to do?
Just from a cartography perspective, 2 days travel to Guild Pledge, you think?
Yes, so you'd be out overnight, probably. There's not really another settlement on the way directly there, and you would go out of your way quite quickly. If you detour, it would take longer to get to Guild Pledge.
So it would be 2 nights travel, no matter how we swing it, probably.
So
Could we do a night here and then one
If
night
we-
on the road and get there by nightfall?
if we
on the
left at
third
crack
night?
of
I see what you
dawn
mean.
tomorrow, would we only have to sleep once?
yes, I'd say you do that. Or if you start out tonight, then you possibly would be 2 nights, depending on how you roll.
Well, I don't mean to trouble you, but I was wondering if we might sleep here for the night and head out at the crack of dawn. We have to get on to Guild Pledge, you see, and it's quite a long way, but we thought if we left at the crack of dawn, we might just have to spend 1 night on the road.
Yes, oh yes, there's an older gentleman mouse who's like not really the town leader, but just like the one that just always speaks like en masse. Yeah, a Guild Pledge. I've not been there for 8. I haven't heard anything from them for a while.
Well, it's probably because of the winter, isn't it? Everyone's
That's a good
kind of-
point, young one. Yes, I think. Yes, they're very nice though. There, you know, Gilbert. It was the one that him and Doris founded Dory Gift and Guild Pledge and Applecroft. Have you ever been to Applecroft?
No, I haven't, but if they've got apples, I'm sure
It's
I would
surrounded
really
by
enjoy
apple
it.
trees.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh, you should go in the summer. It's
Oh.
hard, and it will blather on for hours.
I
you know.
continue that conversation
does
back
that.
and forth for sure.
Fair enough.
I'll
Jack,
try and find someone else to get the accommodation sorted through.
easily done.
whilst-
If anything, his wife comes up after saying, yes, you can stay here in the back room.
Apple pies, apple cider, apple crumble. Oh, I love it all.
Apple cider pie. Have you tried that?
That sounds amazing.
Yes.
All right, Rye, we should be preparing our equipment for tomorrow's journey. So thank you very much, sir.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And he sort of just goes back, sits back in the rocking chair on his, not gantry, porch. There we go. And just sort of says, well, anytime. And he's like, what would you guys like to do in this moment? Are you prepared? Your equipment's fine. I'd say you're now down to like half a bag, so you could take it. And it's just all it is a mail bag now. One of you could put round straps. So you could just leave the cart here if you wanted to. Otherwise, you're just pushing an empty cart or half-empty cart. you could stock up on provisions. I'll say you've done already, but like it's more like, what's the plan now? Are you gonna try and find out a bit more about Guild Pledge or the surrounding areas? You know a bit from the cartography stuff, but what's the plan?
That's probably what I would do. I'd probably just like go find some people talking about stories or whatever and be like, oh yeah, how do you go to Guild Pledge? La, la, la.
What about you, Jacques?
Yeah, I think I would be intrigued by this mention of haven't heard from Guild Pledge in some time. And I would be trying to ascertain if there were any dangers or attacks or rumours or anything suspicious, essentially, about either Guild Pledge itself or anywhere between here and Guild Pledge. Anything on the route.
Okay, so I think, what skill would that be for both of you? Have a think. What would you use for that?
Persuade. Basically, I just want to become everyone's best friend, so...
Yeah, you could persuade. What about you, Jacques?
A skill? You said?
Yeah, skill, or what would you... I'm just trying to think, what would you roll?
I just wonder if this is a wise trait thing, but that's separate, is it? That doesn't determine a number of dice to roll.
That's a good point. I will look it up for you. So wises can only be invoked when the subject is in play. There are 3 ways a wise can affect a roll. They can grant an extra dice to a player you're advising. It can allow you to re-roll a failed die or re-roll all the snakes that come up on a single roll.
Separately, I am wise as a trait.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
No, that was wises.
Wises.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
just
that's
wise.
the thing up there, right?
Yeah.
I have the wise trait, which I think
I
can add a dice when I can claim that the
something
test
else.
I'm doing
Is a wise.
requires. So I could claim right now, say that I am being wise by seeking out dangers ahead, and so
Yeah.
I could choose to add my 1 dice to this, which I think I will avoid doing at this stage.
That's okay, yeah.
But I think, because I don't really have a skill for this, maybe I tell you what.
So,
To fit in character, I would be most concerned about sudden change in the weather. I got us the shovel. I'm concerned about snow, slippiness, especially if there's melt that has refrozen, and I am both weather sense and weather watcher. So I would be concerned about the weather and how it affects the terrain ahead.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you do a weather watcher roll and a persuader roll for the rise.
I also would specifically be after recipes as well, not just things about where we're going, but
Sure.
just like what was in the soup that we just ate for dinner. as
Oh
well.
yeah, fair enough.
I'd probably hang
Go
around
to a
those
local
people.
tavern or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Shall I do the weather one first?
Yeah,
go
go
first.
Jacques first. It'll be 1
That's
to 2.
an axe and a sword.
Nice. Watching out of the village, maybe you take maybe a half an hour or so. You're not gonna. Yeah, you're like Gamini, other Gamini, and
Elbow plus knee equals.
you suspect that there may be a light shower tomorrow afternoon at some point, and the weather, it's still a little bit chilly. But you don't think there's going to be any sudden change in weather? Like, there's not going to be like a snowstorm or a blizzard or anything like that. We've passed winter, where it would be dangerous for you to be out or on a patrol. It is now a much sort of more tenable. It's not perfect conditions, and you suspect like the track may be hindered a little bit by snow still melting and stuff like that. But otherwise, you think weather-wise should be okay.
So with that in mind, I think I would just spend the rest of the evening, number 1, finding a place to store the cart. I think with that in mind, I'm going to call not cart-friendly weather, and also ensuring that we have kind of wet weather gear for this shower and any future showers. So that would be something kind of more waterproof to throw over our packs and cloaks. Ensure we have wet weather tent and so on. That we're weatherproofed.
Okay, cool. I'll make you do a resources roll for that in a second. So what did you get on your... Oh, you're not doing a persuade roll. Yep, go for it.
I got 2 swords and a snake.
2 swords. So maybe you spend a bit of time in the town, obviously at their own bakery, maybe at the tavern as well. You're trying to find out more about Guild Pledge in general and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like...
As well as recipes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like what they do there. Blah, blah. Oh, is that... Oh, I see that you've maybe put something of this... some sage in that bread. That's interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
So, in terms of Guild Pledge itself, so Guild Pledge, from your discussions with the townsfolk, is one of the most remote settlements in the territories. It's got a very small native population, but actually there is also around that a large refugee population from a town called Walnut Peck. both of you would know about Walnut Peck. It is another small settlement town that was beyond the Scent borders. That refugee population were driven out during the Winter War with the Weasels.
Mm-hmm.
And with that successful, because you got 2 successes on that, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know there is actually, in that town, in Gilpledge, there is a person who's quite famous, actually. Famous in the sense of well known for their work, a carpenter by the name of Martin. There's actually some gossip from it. Like, you don't know how old this gossip has been.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been before winter struck. You know that Martin's daughter has recently, in the last year, been engaged to a politician's son from a place called Ironwood.
Do I know anything about Ironwood?
I will look it up for you, because you probably do ask that question, to
Yeah.
be fair.
So it was Martin the carpenter from Gilpledge. His daughter has just become engaged to the politician's son from Ironwood.
Yeah. Martin was originally from the town of Walnut Peck.
He was a refugee.
Mm-hmm.
This is an intricate
It's an interesting plot that Fiona is putting together.
Yes.
note drawing I've got going on.
Excuse me. Ironwood, yes. Ironwood rests amidst red soil, rich in iron. Next to Copperwood, it's the territory's other major metal mining town.
Somebody
That was
wrote
literally
that on purpose.
written to be a tongue
Really
twister.
irritating. So yeah, Ironwood is another mining town.
And that's again further out towards the outside.
It will be.
or-
It's not as far as Gilpledge.
Okay.
It's maybe a bit further in. It's a mining town, so but it'll be on a border somewhere, or it's close to a border. But it's not like I said. Gilpledge is like the furthest remote settlements, as it were.
And this news about the politician's son and Ironwood, that's just gossip, or is it particularly controversial?
From what you get, it's not controversial. It's actually, I think
A nice
mice in
thing.
general, everyone's very nice about stuff. There's nothing wrong with politicians in this world. There doesn't seem to be any sort of. Everyone says that Ironwood's, the mice there are very nice, hard workers with the mine and stuff. And the politician there, we'll call him Graham with an E.
Graham with an
Graham,
E.
politician Graham, and his son Adrian are very well liked, and they're seen as a force for good in Ironwood. And so it's quite a nice thing to happen. Like this carpenter who's fled from the war from their place in Walnut Peck has found some sort of happiness, and his daughter will call her Alice, so Adrian and Alice, with their nuptials. So it's a happy occasion, and it's the news of it is spread purely because Martin himself is such a famous carpenter. Like there's no examples of his work in Dorygift, but it's talked about. So it's really beautiful craftsmanship. Like he spends his time over it, and he seems a good egg. Unless there's anything else you want to do, you will spend the evening at the old man's house, whose name I've not given.
Tried to
I
avoid
couldn't remember
anything
if you
more than the surface level conversation with him.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's very nice. Like, he just sits out on his porch, maybe just rocks his chair a little bit. Like his wife sort of bustles in and about. Like she clearly is in charge, and she's getting everything ready. Like you think because it's spring now, there's going to be like maybe more festivals, maybe a spring harvest coming on. So she's basically the organizer behind everything, and he just sort of sits there and is almost like the Bill Clinton without all the creepy stuff around him. So we'll call him Bill.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and you get given food, you get good beds for the night, and again, this whole experience, you get the sense that the Mouse Guard is doing good, and people appreciate you. You don't. It's not like they're trying to bribe you with gifts or anything like that, but they are appreciative of the work you both do, even if it's as simple as delivering the mail. So, with that, you move to the next day. So early morning. So you said you were going to rise early and deliver the mail. So. Sorry, you did manage to deal with the cart. They said they'll store it away for you, and they'll get one of the runners from the town to send it back because it should be straightforward. Was there something else you was going to
Wet
say?
weather gear.
Yeah,
Wet go gear.
resources roll, you said.
Yep, sorry. Yeah, we'll do a resources roll.
I haven't
first.
done it yet.
Sorry, that's my bad. So yeah, resources roll.
3 dice for over here.
So it's 1 again. First.
Oof, 2 snakes and an axe.
An axe, nice. So yeah, you do manage to find stuff, and the people are very, very helpful towards you as well. And they'll get you like 2 good wet weather gear, like sort of oil skins, and you can put them over the top of your thing, and they fit fairly well.
Like a big poncho.
Yeah, it literally is a big poncho. Yeah. So yeah, you do have those. You both rise early, and what I want to know is, so the cart's been staying, unless you tell me otherwise, it's going to stay here in Dorygift, And what you have left is obviously the sort of big canvas bag with everything in, but inside is just the messenger bag with Guild Pledge on it. If you want, you could just have the messenger bag on you, like that, so you're not having to carry it with two hands over your shoulder. But I want to know who is carrying it.
Is the messenger bag as weather-proofed as the canvas bag?
You get the sense that it is. The reason it was put in the bags is so it was so much mail, and now you've gone from 4 towns, villages mail to 1. And this bag itself, it's not like cumbersome or anything. There's a lot in there that's been packed in, but the way Lockhaven sort of packs everything, it's all very utilitarianised, and you think there's a lot in there, but it's not over cumbersome or anything like that. So my question is, are you going to take it out of the sack? And if so, who is carrying it? Or who's carrying the bag?
I would feel, as I feel ownership over the mission, so feel I ownership over the messenger bag. So I would probably just retrieve it and put it on without kind of saying anything to you.
Yeah, and then I'd probably be like, "Oh, you want me to take that for you? I can carry it if you want."
No, it's all right. I am in charge of this mission, and I will oversee its safe delivery. Personally, your job, as ever, is to scout ahead.
Will do, sir.
If there is danger ahead, we wouldn't want the mail going with it.
Of course, we must get it there at all costs.
Very good. Right. Here we go. Forward. Yes. Continue to put your left foot in front of your right foot, just like you're doing.
Why don't micromanage me?
So, as you're getting further out from Dorygift, as I said before, it's the early spring, and so there's more sense, as you rightly sort of looked out, Jacques, that there's snow and there's more pools of melted water and stretches of mud, so it is a much more difficult task, especially as this route is not well travelled. I need someone to do a Pathfinder test for me. You can help each other. It is a difficulty of 6.
Jahua?
Oh dear.
An axe count as 2?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Basically, so axes are
I've
like
only got
6s,
3.
and then you can spend a fate point to re-roll any 6s you get, and obviously it will the more 6s you get.
Well, I would be helping you, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think is this basic dice rules teamwork. Help from another player adds 1 dice.
So yeah, but you need to justify how you are helping to add it to it. You could use,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we both are looking
ahead.
kind of, each of us looking ahead, looking to the side, looking to see if there's a clearer path, trying to clear the path for one another.
Yeah. See if there's an old track.
Yeah, look for an old track, that kind of thing.
Super. So right, you're going to do the Pathfinder test for me.
Yeah.
So how many dice do you have currently?
It's a 3.
3. So with the help from Jack, I'll be 4.
Okay.
So the obstacle, the number you need to beat is 6. So is there anything else you can do that can make you roll more dice? That's why I just
I'm a
wanted to-
hard worker, and I'm also nimble, and I'm also fearless, but I don't think fearless would really have anything to do with it. But maybe hardworking?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll split it into 2 checks. Well, this will be the first check of the day. Or something else?
You can spend a
Persona.
persona point to add your nature rank to any roll.
Yes.
And if it's against your nature, then your ability is taxed by 1.
Yeah. So in nature, in general, for mice, it's sort of climbing. I think it says on the sheet: climbing, hiding, chasing, and escaping. That's within your nature. And then using that sort of dice roll to do something else, i.e., scouting ahead, and that's not in your nature. So as Ben said, you can add that to the roll, but if you succeed, you will reduce it by 1. If you fail, you reduce it by the number of failures you have.
Okay.
So it's up to you, though. 'Cause that's a very good point.
So I add the rank of 4. Is that how that works?
I think so. Sorry, Ben.
I
you were
think,
going to say something.
well, I was going to say it reduces your nature by 1, is that right?
If you succeed.
Yeah.
If you fail, it reduces it by the number you fail by.
Right, so you would, if you used tapping nature, you would spend a persona point. You would roll 4 dice, because that is how many you're rolling anyway. Then you would add 4 to the result.
You
Add your nature, which is 4, to the result.
No, you'd add
you
dice.
add 4 dice.
Yeah.
So it gives me 8 dice.
Blimey, this is a hard check.
Yeah.
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 It's
But-
good. It's good.
Is there a way to earn persona dice?
So persona points are given at the end of sessions, so as rewards. So you
Right.
currently both have 1 persona point and 1 fate point.
So if I were to use the persona point, that's it. That's all we got, mate.
Yeah.
But also, it's a very difficult role, so maybe it's worth it.
Would your hard worker or nimble trait apply here as well?
That's what I wonder, because I am a hard worker. I feel like I would be like, I gotta get this right, because so far I've been so good on all the other.
And perhaps nimble helps too, because it's terrain that you're navigating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll read out what it says here for nature. So nature stands for mouse's natural qualities and tendencies. For mice, there are 4 aspects to their nature: escaping, climbing, hiding, and foraging. These are aspects which describe situations which you can use your nature without penalty. The higher your rank in nature, the more mouse-like you are. The lower the rank, the more human you are. When an action involves escaping, climbing, hiding, or foraging, you can use your nature roll instead of a skill with no cost. So that's very useful. A mouse may use their nature as a reservoir of strength to help them overcome difficulties. If your character is in a situation that is against their nature, i.e. fighting, researching, arguing, etc., and doesn't have the proper skill, they may make the test using the current nature rating. But then tapping your nature to perform a heroic act. By spending a persona point, you may add your nature's ability to your ability or skill check.
Does it add to the number of successes, or does it add to the number of dice?
It says ability rating to ability or skill test.
Unfortunately, all the other ones say like +1D or +1S to differentiate between adding a die or adding a success. So, GM's call.
Wait, so ability rating. So what have you got currently, Claire? Is 4, right?
In nature, yeah.
For nature.
Oh, yeah.
For nature.
And 4 in the test.
Yeah, 4 in both.
So I think you're right. I think it is rating. So that sounds like a number. So I think you would just add +4 to it, I think.
Well, I guess I will do that.
It's your call. You don't have
to.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
you could just like use what you've got and probably
best.
fail, but maybe not by a lot if you get 4 successes. Or you could roll like 3 axes and spend a fate point to add the 3 extra dice.
I have to spend the fate anyway to add the dice.
No, so you have to spend a persona point for the nature.
Yeah.
The fate point is for
the
re-rolling.
dice. Right.
For re-rolling,
Yeah.
add rolling additional
Well,
dice.
I might as well just spend the persona point then.
Yeah. So you're going to add your nature to the check.
You do that after you roll, or it has to be before?
It has to be before.
Persona is before you roll.
Okay, but fate is after.
After, yeah. Okay, we got there. It's fine.
Tap that nature.
Yep.
Tap that.
Tap that.
Okay. So you need to get 6 successes on the dice.
Okay, and I just add a 4.
Yeah, we're going to say that because that's what it sounds like.
You can quick Google it if you want.
I will take it on this.
That's an axe
Ooh.
and 2 swords.
Okay, so that's 3. And
So
then
I should roll the axe plus the 4.
wait, plus the 4, so it's 7.
That's enough.
That's
You
enough.
don't, no,
Plus,
you
I
don't,
also got swords.
No, it's enough.
you,
Just so you know,
don't, you only re-roll the axe if you spend a fate.
Oh,
It's fine. You already succeeded. So that's fine.
yes, you
Wouldn't
did
have spent the
just
fate.
say that.
So what I'm going to say, because it was against
We
your
did it.
it was against your nature, but it was successful. You reduced your nature by 1. So you
Okay.
write that on
3
the
out of 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's good. It's very hard going. The rain comes quicker than you expect it to, and even though you pointed out, it soaks you. Like the weatherproofing helps to an extent. You keep the bag dry, which is the main thing. And actually, it takes you best part of the full day to get halfway, because that's what we said. We said, it's going to be one night out. Maybe you get to sort of like the evening times, and the rain is pouring, and it is incredibly cold. But because you're wrapped up well, and you manage to circumnavigate certain areas of this forest, you make it to a safe spot, which is I've got like an overhang. So you're currently out of the rain now.
Ooh, we should make camp.
Oh my gosh, it's so cold.
Yes, quick. Help me with the fire.
Yeah, help me with the fire.
Yeah,
Straighten up, right.
So easily enough, maybe takes you a little while because obviously all the wood around here is now sodden, and so you're deliberately taking your time to set the fire, and a little bit of fire comes out, and you currently are camping. And what's the plan now? Are you sort of going to wait out the rain and then go ahead? It's getting darker. I'm saying like it's sort of early evening, so maybe 6 o'clock now. But you've made a good pathway again through that check you did.
Is it, are we in a clearing or is it like in scrubby land?
I'm going to say it's not a clearing as such. Like you're going through trees and it's almost like traversing over like hills, almost with all these roots. But you're sort of it's a big rocky outcrop and you're underneath, and you're sort of surrounded by trees. It's not like massive clearing.
It's like where they hide from the ring wraiths.
Yes,
Under the
sure.
overhang
Yeah.
in the ground.
Yeah, but you've got a bit more space than Frodo.
Well, we're mice in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to like scout around a bit, see if I can see any like potential threats? nuts or like a
Yes.
good like little bit in the tree to hide in or something? Or
Yes, you scout ahead. I'll begin preparing for... I think we're going to need to make camp soon. So you scout around a little, see if you can find anywhere better for the night. But
Yeah.
I'll prepare the camping equipment, I suppose.
yeah. I've got that bread too. Don't forget.
All right. I'll start toasting the
It's
bread. I'll start...
Yeah, that's
Toasting
fine.
a bit of
You
bread.
managed to, again, with the wet weather gear, you've managed to keep everything sort of dry. Like, you yourselves are feeling the cold, perhaps, but everything, your weapons and stuff, you're not too convinced. So, sorry, what are you doing, Rye? You're going to...
I'm gonna scout around to see if there's like if I spot any presumably burrows, because I know the badgers have burrows, or any like knots in the tree, like little hollows made in the tree that might be a little bit safer to hide in rather than being out in the open.
Okay.
Maybe
So,
something like that.
so are you looking specifically for somewhere for better to camp that's higher up, or are you looking for animals that might come and attack you?
I want to say both.
I'm going
But
say
if I
you need
have to
do
pick-
one. Yeah. The reason I'm saying is like because if you're using your badger wise, that's an extra
Yeah.
dice to your roll, but you can only use
Oh,
that
right.
once per session.
Oh,
That's why I
right,
wanted
right,
to double
right.
check with you.
Well, I think
I
I
think
would.
so about
I
once,
think
anyway.
I would probably, because of my nature,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd be more on the lookout for threats than actually somewhere good to
Perfect.
stay. Unless, what did you say as I left?
I'll toast the bread.
Yeah, you said I'd taste the bread,
I
so
did
I'll
say
do
look
it.
for somewhere better. I did
Yeah.
say that. I said look, see if you can find... I did say that, but you could
Yeah,
also
you-
be ignoring
yeah,
my...
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but I want to impress you, so I feel like I would try and look for something
That-
better. I think I would ignore you though, because you would.
That maybe
you
is
wouldn't
why you're
know.
trying to impress me, or like,
I'll
Yeah,
show him. I'll
I'm gonna
find,
throw.
I'll
I'm
find
gonna
something
try.
even better.
Yeah, I'm gonna find something better.
Okay.
So I use my wisest to do that.
So it's more like if you want to look out for anything specific, like badgers and stuff like that, then you would add a d6 to your roll.
Okay.
But I think it's just a scouting roll just now. It's going to be
Yeah.
difficulty of 3. That's what I'd
Okay.
say. So if you want to add it, you can, but then you can only do it once per session.
Yeah, and I could only do it for a badger, right?
Yeah,
Or-
I mean, but it's more like, is that what you're really looking out for? That's what
Yeah.
it's giving you.
I
an
wouldn't
example.
be looking for a badger specifically.
No, so then I think it's just
animals.
scouting. Then I think, yeah.
Oh no!
I rolled that one again.
Where did it
In
go?
here.
Well, I can already tell you I failed.
oh no, there's like a trap hole that
Oh,
the dice could fall
Jesus.
through.
Okay, let's.
We'll shut this door in a second.
Relax. Nope, that's a
Complete failure.
Oh,
one sword.
one sword and 3 snakes.
Okay.
Three snakes.
It still looks. Oh yeah, and I said it was free this time.
You did.
Yep. I really failed.
So this is interesting. So you can either get a twist, or I can let you succeed, but with a condition.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is that a twist is like something happens in the story that is like another obstacle in your way, or the compromise is that you get something, but you get a condition. So remember those condition cards I
Oh,
talked about
yes.
before.
Yeah.
What would you prefer?
I feel like a failure is more interesting.
It's completely up to you.
I'm gonna fail.
You're going to fail. Okay. So what happens is, as you are going out, you can't. The rain is getting quite hard now. It's severely sort of raining down on the rocks, and it's actually getting quite muddy. So your whole lower half is your fur. I'm sorry, is full of mud, and you do find a little ways off a hollow stump in sort of a bit of a clearing, maybe a good 10-minute walk there, and you sort of peer in, and you see like a raven. And ravens are known in this world. They are a bit cheeky. They're a bit sort of like, not how's your father? Sorry. Wow. How's your father? But they're sort of like mischievous in a way. So maybe you pop your head in, and the raven's like, "Rah, what? Rah, who are you?
Oh, my name's Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Rah, get out! Get out!
Oh, sorry.
Rah,
I was just seeing if
go away!
you needed. Oh, okay. All right. Do you need a hand?
You got
Can I
food?
help you
Food?
out? Yeah, sure. I've got some food. You want some?
Yes.
Oh, here you.
And takes all the food. More food!
Well, you know what? I think I'm pretty much fresh out.
More food!
All right, here you go.
More food!
Oh
And it-
boy.
No, that's it. That's all I've got,
this
man.
raven starts like sort of like almost like starts beating its face. More food!
Oh, you know what? I think I saw some food all the way back over there.
You need
And
to,
I point a completely
Yeah,
different direction
of
from
course
the
you
way
do.
we want.
I need you to do a persuasion check then.
That's Persuader, I assume.
A persuader, yep. It's going to be very difficult because you've given this
Yeah.
thing food. It's going to be 3 successes
Oh, dear.
on your 3 dice.
Oh, so close.
Or you could spend a fate to add one
And then I
die.
didn't have any fate left. I got nothing left to do.
Because it was
Or-
1 axe, 1 sword, and 1 snake.
Oh, I think there's something else on. Is it? I can't remember what it is. Where you could. No, maybe you're not. Maybe it is fate. Sorry, I was thinking about breaking a tie in my favour.
But it's not a tie.
Yeah, it's not a tie. It's
Yeah.
right. Maybe
You
maybe it is.
can break a versus test in the GM's favour
That's it.
to gain 2 checks.
There you go.
Right.
You can spend it if you want to re-roll.
Feel.
Is this bird is sort of
Yeah.
proper like?
You'd
Yeah,
be
for-
pretty tapped out because you've already
Yeah.
spent your persona.
Yeah, I don't think I want to spend it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to say this bird then gets really sort of like up in your face, and you point. It just stares at you and goes, "You got food. Where is food?" Ah!
I turn out my pockets. I'm like, I got no food, man. I'm not joshing you.
And it sort of looks to you, and then at this point, I assume the fire has started going,
Yeah, I'm
Toasty,
cooking away.
roasty
I'm
fire.
toasting.
and the person then sort of looks up. Ah! What's that?
Oh, probably, bushfire. I
Bushfire?
see them all the time. Yeah, you better fly away, man.
Ah!
It's coming.
Get out of here! Then I pretend to run the other way.
So you're running away from the fire.
I'm not like directly away,
No.
but like in a 90-degree, maybe slightly over a 90-degree
Okay.
angle.
So I guess then, are you trying to run away and hide, like try and then double back to the
Yeah.
camp? Okay, so that's hiding. So that's going to be in your nature. So I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
roll nature. It's also going to roll nature to
Okay.
see if it can perceive what's going on.
Okay, so that is what my current number is, not
It is-
what it
Yes,
used to
it's
be.
what you're currently. So you're on 3. Let's see what this
And,
bird
and
has.
this is this a versus test?
This is going to be a versus test.
So there are
Okay.
some special rules for
Oh,
versus
okay.
tests.
Yeah.
You can go down a die to gain like a
Check
I
later
think
on.
Check is like a point that can be spent to recover or
Yes, so when it gets to
Train.
the end of my section, then you get
Yeah.
to use these as I want to go do this, and then we play out that. It's sort of like a
Oh,
bartering
yes.
system if you wish to do
I
that.
do have a point of order
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Go for it.
Advancement rules. P equals pass, successful tests. F equals fail, failed tests. Should we have been noting down every time we pass or fail?
You would if we were doing a proper campaign,
Okay.
and at the end, like that's how you level up at the end of each
Very
session.
cool.
But yes, it is cool, but it's
Sad
really
now.
complex. complex for a one shot. So I've just gone
Yeah.
nope. But yes,
That's
that's
a
So
cool
far, I would have
mechanic.
been nailing scouts.
You-
I'd
yeah,
probably
you'd be
almost
up.
be a level up.
But I think no, that's a different course.
I do think that's a great mechanic.
It's cool. So you always double check on stuff like that. But yes, normally you would. I've got to be honest. Raven's nature is really good.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
surprised.
they are quite primal beings.
They are.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to lose this.
I mean,
You don't.
I've got
You
Raven
don't
could
know.
just
I got
roll
3
snakes.
Yeah.
dice.
Raven could roll snake.
I could roll all snakes. So
Do you want the tray?
I'm gonna let you roll first. No, not out of mean. I just want to know. Come on.
What? I think you're going to beat me.
We'll find out.
Well,
find
someone
out.
rolled all
3
snakes.
snakes. Yep. I'm dead.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yep.
Uh-huh.
So you take off, and maybe you look back and you see the raven looking at you, and then you look back again and it's gone. But you can hear a flutter of wings, and it's going further away in the opposite direction, but towards the fire.
Ah, fire.
I start running towards the fire.
I'm just toasting a bit of toast, kind of wondering where Rye's gotten to.
So yeah, as you're wondering that and you're sitting the toast, you just hear a horrible flap of wings, and into this sort of alcove comes this huge raven. It's like, "Mac! Mac! Food!"
I throw some toast. Throw some toast at the bed,
That's
and then hide behind my pack.
That's fine. That's easily done. He's like, oh, that's a distraction. And he goes, it starts eating the food, and then it sort of looks up, clocks eyes with you, and then its eyes sort of slide down towards the bag, and goes, mail, mail, and then it starts to go for you, trying to get the bag.
Oh, I would defend the male.
Right.
So
This is where we start to do combat. Hey. will Jacques and Rye come together against all the odds and make it to Gilpledge to complete their mission in delivering the mail? Find out next time on What Am I Rolling? The What Am I Rolling podcast was created, recorded and edited by me, Fiona Howat. This episode's players were Claire Jarvis and Ben Dawes. This episode's RPG was Mouse Guard, designed by Luke Crane and based on the work of David Peterson. You can find out more about Mouse Guard and download resources on the official Mouse Guard website. That's www.mouseguard.net. The theme music was 8-Bit March by Twin Musicon of twinmusicon.org, licensed under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you want to find out more about the podcast, check out the website. That's www.wairpodcast.com. Fancy getting in touch? Email the podcast at whatamirollingpodcast@gmail.com. Finally, follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at WAIR_podcast for latest news on upcoming episodes. And remember, adventurers need not apply.